Hey guys, Bowie here, and this is Things I've Learned with EG.Sumail's Alchemist in 718. Last time we talked about this hero, we were talking about new technologies, right? This time, we are serious. This hero is not about being a super farmer anymore, he's about a very specific power spike from level 10 to level 20, as well as Blink Dagger and Octarine Core. Sumail does get Radiance, but we saw different teams playing the hero differently. First of all, thanks to how Grivels work, you do get bonus for every bounty rune that your team takes, allowing Sumail to not only block the lane to his will, but also get the gold bonus. That's not all. Thanks to the gold bonus, he can start the lane with not only an extra salve, but a circlet as well. In fact, the way Sumail uses the curry in this particular matchup is quite important. As Sumail approaches the lane, he clicks on the Terror Blade and you can see that he has 13 armor and stealth shoe. That's quite scary, right? Even then, after drawing aggro, he actually trades hits with the Terror Blade. You might be thinking, why? And the answer is relatively simple. Not only the damage block on ranged heroes is inferior, the enemy range creep is not drawing aggro to Sumail, which means that the overall damage that Terror Blade takes is more than Sumail. Many players would respect the Terror Blade using Metamorphosis and would just leave the lane, but by understanding not only the lane matchup, the items, but also how the creeps are dispersed around the mid lane, he makes a good decision, also knowing that his salve is on the way, so he's more than willing to trade damage as long as he can leech experience and get CS. As the lane pushes, Sumail understands that the range form on Terror Blade is dangerous, and there is also this huge-ass wave marching against him, so he buys another salve and sends it to him. The TB versus Alchemist matchup is definitely TB favored, but by understanding that he only needs to leech experience and get that level 6, and also that Alchemist gets less punished about that as long as you're getting CS, he's more than willing to get the second salve. Salves are not the only item he fares himself. He buys a bunch of mangoes, but we'll talk more about that after witnessing this cool play Sumail goes for. Since he has creep advantage, and since the creeps aggro like this, with the range creep actually attacking the tower, look what Sumail does. Since this is a melee matchup, he stays close to the tower and blocks TB's path towards that creep, making it impossible for the TB to get the CS. Another point to talk about is that while he maxes Grivels grid before Acid, he gets level 2 Acid. Not only the AoE is harder for a melee hero to avoid, it allows him to fight for CS better against the Terror Blade, always securing range creep. The Mango's job is exactly that. It allows the King to reliably get range creeps, which in a way makes the TB lane advantage less noticeable. At this stage, you're probably wondering why the hell is he going Aquila, and the answer is lengthy. Not only the item is insanely high value, Elk is low armor, he has high attack speed so he makes use of the raw damage, mana regen scales now, but I guess the most important part is that the build Sumail goes for has no armlet involved, so instead of spending 2k gold on armlet, he spends that gold on treads and Aquila, pretty much the same trade-off in terms of gold. The mana regen combined with tread switching that is required since Concoction is now an insanely good spell thanks to the new talents. Anyways, you can constantly see how he commits the acid to make sure the range creep is his, and once his mana is over, all he has to do is drop his Aquila, eat the mango, and repeat the process. The range creep is so important that even when Bane shows up, he makes sure to get it as if he's not even there. Another wave coming, just drops the Aquila, mangoes, repeat. While Terror Blade can zone Sumail a little bit with Metamorphosis, even that hero suffers against Acid Spray if he stays there long enough. The thing is, since Sumail bought 3 salves, all those mangoes, not only he's relatively healthy right now, TB took a lot of damage. You might say that this kill is lucky, but Alchemist will never have kill potential on a TB by solely having a haste rune. All the harass that comes from him spending gold on consumables gives him this opportunity. Since he's now low on mana and he cannot harass Terror Blade anymore, he goes towards the bounties since they're super important and his team was fighting, so he makes sure to guarantee those bounties for himself. Since he knows that Terror Blade already committed Metamorphosis to repel him away from the lane, he cannot force the tower as reliably, allowing him to farm his level 6 in the jungle. Since he's jungling now, he gets a Clarity instead of mangoes, and this hero starts to skyrocket in farm. It's worth noting that since he has Aquila, Quellan Blade, and the HP regen from his ult, he actually fights with edgy treads for extra DPS on jungle creeps, and he also makes sure that one of his supports is farming or at least leeching the mid lane, not only making better use of the map, but also defending that tower. Another thing to mention is that he doesn't ult as soon as he has the skill available while jungling. He waits until he takes some damage and spends some mana so that the mana regen that comes from the ult is fully utilized. He always makes sure to show up and not give his tower away while he uses the pushing power from Acid Spray to farm 1 or 2 extra camps while the enemy repushes the lane. Since he kept on calling his allies to stay mid, not only he accelerates his allies' power spikes, he's also farming uncontested in the jungle. Keeping that tower up is not only about, saving a tower, it also protects Sumail, and as his friends are there, he keeps on getting clarities and utilizing the map. This one spot was used fairly often by Sumail when he was sure a hero could protect his lane. The acid spray allows you to farm 2 camps at the same time, something impossible anywhere else in the map. Even better than that, Alchemist loves those small creeps anyways. There's not a lot of secret on farming with Alchemist, just thread switch for every spell, get mana regen when needed, and protect your tower. What we want to talk about is what to do after the Radiance. You notice the threads, right? So do you sell it? Do you buy double boots and you get travels? No, the answer is you get Blink Dagger. It might sound confusing, but it's actually fairly simple. The combination of the cooldown reduction talent at level 10 and the extra damage at level 20 just makes Concoction insanely valuable. So valuable that your real power spike is basically getting Blink and max Concoction. Another beautiful thing of this playstyle is that since Sumail gave his lane for his supports very early in the game, they're all level 6 and they don't necessarily need the tome. Sumail gets one at 12 minutes since no one bought it, and this puts him even closer to his godlike power spike. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what you do with Alchemist now. You don't farm until you have Octarine and Shivas, even though that's what Sumail builds on the hero anyways. You just fight. You're quite similar to Meepo in the sense that you farm super fast and you get online at around 15 minutes, maybe even less. You just need a Blink Dagger. While they save the Terrorblade here, you can see how strong Alch is and how much they actually had to spend to save him. And he doesn't even have max Concoction yet. As I said, he still goes Manta first, and he kept on using this spot to farm as often as possible. Another crazy part of the talent is that since the cooldown is that low, even though he stuns himself here, he can still kill the Pugna, and at this stage, the game is actually even in gold, so it's not like he's just having the time of his life. The power spike that Alchemist gets is insanely strong. In fact, while you have a gazillion attack speed, and you build Yasha, you also get HP instead of damage. As long as you're not bursted, you have so much damage and Radiance, right clicks, and Concoction that the 400 HP is preferred most of the time. Even heroes like Lifestealer or Juggernaut that have ways of dealing with the Concoction perish when you have Blink Dagger, and it's quite clear that you don't like damage, and as long as you don't die, which is harder if you have HP, you can just keep on spamming that freaking Concoction and you're eventually going to win the fight. If you don't believe me, it happens again here. In fact, look how Sumail hides his illusions so that the Juggernaut doesn't think that Sumail is around. Octarine is still core on the hero because it pretty much puts the downtime of Concoction on 0. There's a lot of little efficiencies that we see Sumail going for. The acid spray here draws aggro from the small camp, allowing him to focus the big one, and then he just leaves as the acid spray finishes the job. In this other clip, he blinks as one of the last creeps is about to die, and the aggro finishes the job as well. He's always using either Radiance or Acid Spray to do things slightly faster to milk the power spikes as best as possible. Look at this clip. Sumail does not have Octarine core yet, but the spammability of Concoction when it's actually level 4 is out of this world. You don't need to farm Shivas to be able to chase heroes down anymore. Levels will do that for you. We can see how the cooldown reduction makes this hero way less punished by stunning yourself. In this clip, he tries to wait the Blade Fury out, stuns himself, but he can go for another one just because he's super fast and he has that low cooldown. The last power spike, as I said, comes with the extra Concoction damage at level 20 and your Octarine core. I'm not even sure there's much to talk about, just watch this clip. With Octarine, he doesn't even bother thread switching much anymore, and this hero becomes one of the clowniest things I've ever seen. As long as you have a decent mid matchup, like a melee hero or a weak mid like a Storm Spirit, it seems that the buffs to your passive and the talent changes makes farm on Alchemist way better than before. Definitely something you can spam, but if you have less pick and a good mid matchup, try it out for sure. Okay guys, here's the deal. I know most of you don't watch my streams, but I really need your help. For a multitude of reasons that goes from my camera breaking me changing YouTube networks and not getting paid in like 3 months already, Brazilian bureaucracy, lending money to friends that don't pay me back. I'm just on a big pickle. It's uncertain whether I'll be able to attend TI right now, and I'm not asking for money. Any support watching my stream here on YouTube, your like or a comment can just help me get better chances at finding a sponsor for the trip. I'm not asking for money again, and I just want you guys to know, a lot of people told me that I should give up casting and just make videos, but they don't realize that YouTube by itself does not give me the means to support myself. I know a lot of people enjoy the TI vlogs, and I wanted to make them 10 times better, but right now I'm afraid that might not happen. Anyways, sorry for the rant, but it's been a very rough couple of days, and that's why we didn't have videos yesterday. I was actually not going to make videos for the entire week, but I was just bored, and yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and hopefully you're gonna have a good time. If you want to keep watching, there's crispy music over here, and if you want to watch it on the client, here's the replay ID. Thanks everyone. Bye.